Good morning, students. Now we will see algorithm design, which is our fifth chapter. So first, we'll have to understand what is algorithms. Okay, we already have used it in microcontroller lab. Okay, you already have written algorithm, and then you have done the programming. So my explanation here, it will be very simple, easy, because you already used algorithm, especially in microcontroller lab. So what is algorithm? It is a strategy, or it is an approach, and it is a logic development. You develop a logic. Okay, so what is algorithm? When it is written, who will write it? We'll all see these steps. So what is algorithm? Yes, it is a step by step procedure for solving a problem. Yes, everyone agrees with this procedure for solving a problem. Then what is a program? What is program then? It is also same. Yes, it is algorithm. It is a step by step procedure to solve a problem, and the program is also same. Then what is the difference? Okay, algorithm and program, what is the difference? We will see. Okay, yes, so there are, see, you take any problem. Okay, there are two phases in it. First one is design phase, and another one is implementation phase. You take anything. Okay, before doing anything, you plan it and then you implement it. Yes, you cannot construct on trial and error basis. Yes, suppose you are constructing a building, you don't try something and then later you realize that no, this is not the way I want, and then you don't destruct it. Correct? This is not the way you do. You have a plan. Yes, you have a strategy. You first develop a logic and then you start to implement it. So there are two phases, design and implementation phase. Okay, but here in coding, in programming, what happens is you write a program on a software and then you realize it's not the way it should work. Then you delete it, again you construct it. That is, you deconstruct and again construct. So you don't feel that you have wasted the time. Yes, that should not how it should be. See, Nikola Tesla is a famous scientist. He is famous because he has done more things. He has more than 700 patents, which he has, most of them he has not claimed it. You take a transformer, AC generation, AC transmission, okay, radar, it is all his invention. Wireless power transfer, according to me, he's the greatest. And his counterpart was Thomas Alva Edison. There was a big rivalry between Thomas Alva Edison and Nikola Tesla. You should know their story. Why is famous Nikola Tesla? Is because he used to design everything in his mind. He never used to put anything on paper and pen. He used to construct it in mind, and he used to do it till it actually works in his mind. So he constructs, he designs. First he design and then construct everything in mind only. Once it is everything, he is convinced about his imagination, what he has constructed. Once he convinced that it will work, then only he used to put it in work. He used to take the components and build it. And for the very first time, whatever he has built, it has worked because he has worked it everything mentally. So that is the power of imagination, what has given to us, what God has given to us. I don't want to call it as a God. I want to refer it as a existence. What existence has given us are two things. One is memory, which decides our past. Okay, past is what? Memory. And what is future? It is imagination. Through imagination, you see your future. So these are the two tools given to human mankind. Yes, these two tools are not given to any other animal. So that's why human is also an animal who is higher than other animals is because he has these two faculties, that is memory and imagination. Memory is past, imagination is future. Okay, and with this, okay, we'll come to the topic, that is algorithm. So we'll see the differences. Here we have to do first design phase and then implementation phase. So now we'll see what is the difference between algorithm and program. So algorithm is written, okay, is written at the time of design time it is written. Here it is written in implementation time. Bear with my handwriting. Okay, this stylus, that is pencil, which I am using to write digitally, is very smooth. Okay, so bear with my handwriting. And this is the first major difference. So algorithm, you write it in design time, and then program, you write it in implementation time. So who will write this? Okay, who will write this? Who has domain knowledge? Who has domain knowledge? Then who will write this program? It is written by programmer. So domain knowledge, for example, okay, if it is a problem, is if it is related to finance or accountancy, then accountant will frame this algorithm, will do the will write the procedure. Or if there is something related to hospital, a doctor is a better person to write the algorithm because he knows the domain, he has complete knowledge about his domain. So that is an example. And programmer, who writes it? The one who knows software coding, some language like C++. Okay, so in which language does, third difference is, in which language algorithm is written? Okay, you can write it in any language. Whatever language you know, you can write it. Whatever language others knows, they write it. It may be Hindi, Kannada, English, okay, Greek, anything, French, anything. Okay, but here it is always written only in programming language. So algorithm is simply writing procedure, okay, problem solving procedure in simple language. It is on pen and paper. Okay, it is on pen and paper, but a program you write only on computers, correct? Software. Even though if you are writing algorithms on computers, then it will be MS Word only or text. Okay, text editor. So but program is written in specific language, C++, Python, okay, Java, anything. And you can use mathematical notations also. Mathematical notations are always encouraged to use, so that notations are always easy to understand. Okay, so next difference is, it is independent. What you write here, algorithm, is independent of what hardware and operating system you are using. Okay, which hardware and which operating system, whether it is Linux or Windows or Mac OS, it all depends. I mean, it is independent of it. But here program, what you write, it depends on hardware and operating system. Yes, it depends on hardware and operating system, which hardware you are writing, okay, whether it is Arduino, Raspberry Pi, yes, microcontroller, which hardware, and what is the software you are using, okay, on which OS you are using. So whether it is designed for Windows or Linux or Mac OS, it depends. And next is, you analyze, okay, the time taken or the result to be achieved here. you analyze here, but here you run and check. So this is the difference. Run and check means what? You don't analyze it, you have the program, you have written it, okay, you simply run and check whether it will work or no. So this is called as testing. Okay, you test a program whether it is working or no. So that's it. This is the some introduction about algorithm. Okay, we have learned what is algorithm and what is the difference between algorithm and program. Okay, now we will see divide and conquer method, which is the first topic in our 5th chapter. Hi all. So now we'll see algorithm design. It is a separate chapter, and the algorithm means it is a procedure. So for different problems there are different methods to solve it, different approaches are there. So we have many algorithms. Like for first we'll see what is divide and conquer method now. So similar to divide and conquer, we have a greedy method, dynamic programming, backtracking, branch and bound. So these are all similar to divide and conquer method. Now what is divide and conquer method? So it is a strategy. What is strategy? Strategy means approach or a design. So how you approach a problem? Suppose we have a problem P which is big. What we do is we divide that problem into smaller problems, or we also call them as tasks, or we also call them as sub problems. For example, if it is divided into k problems from P1 to Pk, that is P1, P2, P3 and so on up to Pk, if we have different k problems, sub problems, we can find a solution of it, which is S1 corresponding to P1. For P2 corresponding solution will be S2. For P3 corresponding solution be S3 and so on up to, for Pk corresponding solution will be Sk. Now we had divided the problem into sub problems and each had its own solution. Once we have the solutions, we again combine them to get back the bigger solution. The main thing to be noted here is if the problem is of sorting, P1, P2, P3 up to Pk must be a problem on sorting only. It cannot be something else. For example, it should not be something like this. That example is, for example, workshop. If you have a workshop in your college, what tasks, subtasks you do? You create a poster, you invite the resource person, you mail them, okay, you invite the participants, you have different tasks. So that cannot be that, because subtasks must be of workshop only. Okay, if you take a bigger problem as workshop, subtask must also be on workshop only. But here it is making a poster, invitation is there. So these are different tasks. It cannot be like that. So something like this, if bigger problem is a sorting, so P1, P2, P3 and so on must be sorting itself. This is the condition here. Okay, and, you have to select a problem like that. Now we'll see an algorithm. I'll write an algorithm. So here is the algorithm. Here it is a recursive algorithm. Why it is recursive is because P1 is same type as of P. That is, if bigger problem is sorting, P1 must also be sorting itself. So because of this condition, we have taken a algorithm on recursive. So it is a recursive. We already have seen an example on recursive. Recursive means the function which calls itself. So we'll take a problem P, and if the problem P is small, then you simply give the solution of it. If it is not small, then you divide the p into sub problems p1, p2, p3 and so on up to pk, and then apply divide and conquer method. Apply divide and conquer method. So since it is recursive, you are calling back the same function. So once you apply divide and conquer method, you will get the solutions, and those solutions you have to combine back them. Once you combine them back, you will get a bigger solution, and that is the end of it. So we have different problems, or you can say applications, like recursive. We have seen a topic on it. Then finding min and max. Okay, and we have merge sort. We have different problems where we apply this divide and conquer method. We have quick sort, and we have Strasson's matrix multiplication. So we'll see finding min and max problem, which is an application of it. We have seen divide and conquer method. What are the two major points we have to remember here? First is, suppose if it is a bigger problem, then you divide it into small problems or sub problems. Okay, and the whatever the divided problem is, it should be of same type of main problem. Suppose the main problem is of sorting, then this should also be sub problem or small problems what you have divided should also be of sorting only. Okay, it should not be of different type. This is one point. And another point is, whatever the result of small sub problems or the solutions of small sub problems what you have achieved, you should be able to combine them. Okay, if it is not, you are not able to combine them and get a bigger solution, okay, which is the solution of a bigger problem, then what is the use, correct? So you should be able to combine the smaller problems and get the bigger problem. These are the two major steps you should know. And we have understood that it is a recursive function. It uses a recursive function, and recursive function we have already explained it in maybe in first chapter. Okay, but nevertheless we'll have to do some analysis here. Okay, and this topic is very big because as I said, it has 5 applications. Okay, it can be used anywhere, so it is a very bigger problem. But here for syllabus we'll try to confine it, and we'll try to understand it. We'll have to understand it in a limited way. Yes, we cannot explore all the things. Of course, throughout the chapter we will explore the things, but for divide and conquer method, it is we will have to stop somewhere and limit somewhere. So we'll understand and analyze the recursive function and the relation to it. So I'll take an example. Okay, void test int n. So if n is greater than 0, yes, and so that is the condition, and we'll do some couple of tasks. That is, one is printing. Okay, and next is calling its own function, the function calling itself. So test n is the call. Okay, here we are calling test n minus 1. So test this function is called again, but with 1 less than n. So if is completed, and the main this test function is also completed. Okay, now we always trace. Okay, we'll always trace the recursive function. Suppose n is 3. I'll give some example, because without some example we cannot trace it. So suppose n is 3. So you have called test 3. Yes. Now 3 is greater than 0. Yes. If it is yes, then only it enters here. So it will print. Because n is 3. Yes. You are printing 3. Yes or no? You are printing 3. Then you call a function. So it is doing two tasks. This test is doing two tasks. One is printing and another is calling itself. So once you call test 2. Why? Because it is 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. So it is called. Again 2 is greater than 0. Yes. Yes. So this function is called. Is it 2 greater than 0? Yes. Then print it. So you print it and again call. Yes. Again 1 is greater than 0. Yes. Enters here. If this condition is true, it enters here. Print the n value. N value is 1 now. And it calls test 0. Now is 0 greater than 0? No. Then stop. This is stopped. Now what is the time taken here? 1 unit. Yes. This is 1 unit, means you are calling it for one time. You are calling here for another time. Okay. This also takes 1 unit. 1 unit of time. This takes 1 unit of time. Even though this is called, this is not doing anything. Yes. So we have total how many? 3. And whenever we call a function, we have one constant thing which is always been done, that this is the major work done. Yes. So it is, yes, it is one time. Okay. So this is the major work done. So how many times it is printed? 3 times. Yes. So 3 times it's printing, or yes, 3 times it is printing. But how many calls has been done? 4 times. Yes. So 3 for 3 number, 3 plus 1. Okay. This is called, but this is not doing anything. So I am writing it separately. Suppose if it is 4, then 4 plus 1. Suppose if it is 5, 5. Yes. Yes or no? For 3 calls, 3 times plus 1. For 4 times, 4 plus 1. For 5 times, 5 plus 1. Yes. Similarly, for n times, okay. Okay. How many? For n equal to 3, it is 3 plus 1. Suppose if it is n, then it will be n plus 1 calls. N plus 1 calls. Okay. And how many times the print is executed? How many times the print is executed? Print is executed n times. Executed n times. So what is the order? Order is n, because this is the actual work done. Yes. So this is the actual work done. So order is n. Now we'll try to find a relation. Okay. We'll try to find a relation. I'll try to write it here only. We'll try to find a relation, and then we will do reverse engineering method, and we'll try to prove whatever the relation we get here. Okay. It has a recurrence, because this is a recurrence function. It will have a recurrence relation, so that we have order of n. We have got, okay, order of n, but generally we don't call it as order, because we are computing time. We will call it as time. So this is what? Total time. Say this is the function. Yes, this is the function. So how much time this is taking? T of n. Yes, T of n. So this is the total time taken by this program. Okay. Time taken by this program. Yes. Now in this flow, this is taking one constant time. Yes, so in this flow it is I'm taking only one flow. Okay, this is one time printed. So this is, see, sorry, if for for n, test n, if t, the time taken is t of n, then for test n minus 1, what will be the time taken? T of n minus 1. True? Yes or no? I have taken some time for test of n, it is t of n. Then for test of n minus 1, obviously it will be t of n minus 1. Yes. So if I add these two, which is the total time taken, so t of n will be t of n minus 1 plus 1. Okay, I'll rewrite this. T minus 1 plus 1 is the relation. So this is important. Yes. Now what is the relation we have got? T of n minus 1 plus 1. Yes, this is for what? N greater than 0. If this is true, then this is there. Okay, if this is true, then only you enter here. Correct, you do this. And if it is not true, for this case, yes, t of 0, it was not true. So for n equal to 0, what is the time taken? Nothing. Okay, but you cannot write 0 here. Because time, you cannot tell it is 0. Okay, so we always call it as constant, some constant, very minimum time. Okay, either you can call it as constant A, constant B, constant C. I am calling it as constant 1. Okay, now we have to prove this. So we'll prove that whatever we have achieved here, see, we have, based on some logic, we have written this. What was the logic? For test n, time taken is t of n. Then for test n minus 1, time taken is t of n minus 1. And for printing, it is taking some constant time, because this is only printing once. Yes. So whatever the relation we have got it, we have to prove it. Yes. So we'll prove it. T of n is equal to t of n minus 1 plus 1. This is what we have got. See, we can know t of n only if we know this, because 1 is constant, we know what is 1. But if we know this, then only we can know t of n. So what might be t of n minus 1? I'll call this as 1. What might be t of n minus 1? Because t of n is t of n minus 1 plus 1, then obviously t of n minus 1, that is 1 less than the equation 1, should be this, because this is constant. I am calling constant as constant only. I cannot make it 2. It will become 2 later. You will understand how. Yes or no? So I have reduced 1. Okay. Okay, I'll substitute this 2 in 1. You substitute 2 in 1. What will happen? T of n equal to t of n minus 1 is what? T of n minus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, then what does this become? T of n minus 2 plus 2. This is t of n. Now what is t of n minus 2? What is t of n minus 2? T of n minus 3 plus 1. So substitute it. So t of n minus 3 plus 1 plus 2. So what is this? T of n minus 3 plus 3, which is t of n. Yes. So how long I should do this? Okay, how long I should do this? How long I should continue this? Till how long I should reduce this? Earlier it was 1, it became 2, 2 became 3. Okay, how long? K times. So in continue this for K times or K steps. K steps. So how long I should reduce? Till n becomes 0. Yes or no? This is already greater than 0. So reducing means I should come to 0, no? Yes. Yes. So this is the point. So t of n, how long I should reduce it? How many times? N minus k times. Yes. There should be some limit. Okay, you cannot continue because this is real world. Finite number must be there. You cannot take infinite number. So assume what assumption we have made now? N minus k is reaching to 0 because our minimum number is 0. So this whole thing k will go up to n. So n minus n becomes 0. Okay, because the least n least is 0. So we have equated it to 0. So what it becomes? T of n is equal to, okay, when it will become 0, n minus k, 1, k is n. So it is n minus n plus n. So T of n is what? T of n is what? T of n is T of n minus n. T of n minus n is 0 plus n. So what is T of 0? What is T of 0? Put n equal to 0. T of 0 is 1. Yes. So it is 1 plus n. This is what we had got earlier. Yes, see here. So now you understood why we have taken it 1. Why we have taken it 1. Printing is done 1 times every time, correct? But in addition total it becomes, so this is how you analyze the recursive function. So we have proved it, what we had taken was right. And n may be big number, so adding 1 to it, it doesn't make much difference. So order is again n. That is what we had got it. Yes. So for n equal to 1, it is 1 time, order of 1. N equal to 2, order of 2. N equal to 3, order of 3. N equal to 4, order of 4. So it becomes a linear. So it is a linear class. Okay, it is a linear class. So this is how we trace a recursive function and do the time analysis. So if a question is asked on divide and conquer method, you have to explain till here, from the starting of this video till the end of this video, divide and conquer. So other methods we will see it in coming videos, so please listen carefully now. There are 5 topics, 5 algorithms, so I'll make 5 videos. Okay, and because of time constraint I'm making it very precise, very simple, and all the 5 topics you must know. Yes, because I have to take from each unit, I should make maximum of 8 questions, but the topics are 5. Okay, so you can expect any two of this in the main exam, actually 4. Yes, you might note the question paper pattern. The question paper pattern is something like this. Okay, from unit 1, question 1a, question 1b, and 2a, 2b. Either you can write these two or you can write these two. So similarly for all units, and for unit 5, okay, for all unit it is same. So it will be 9a, 9b, and 10a, 10b. Yes. So I have to frame 4 questions. So out of 5 topics, you will get 4. Okay, you will get 4. But there will be, if you know all these 5 topics, then only you can attempt this unit 5. So with this, I'm stopping it here. And this is my first video, first topic on this unit. Okay, and all rest of the videos you will find it in only in Google Classroom. We are not making any classes from now, because from Saturday you have IA, so we have class only on Saturday. In between you don't have class, so you'll find all the topics only in Google Classroom. So for your IA, the portion is fourth chapter plus divide and conquer. Okay, and another is, hope you might know the next algorithm. So you have two topics in IA from chapter 5, that is unit 5, divide and conquer and greedy strategy method. Okay, so unit 4 plus these two topics is for your third IA. So thank you.